is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all,
Just stop.
get real.
Welcome to DBL. Big round of applause for Lydia, who just ran so quickly.
I don't think anybody knows what happens
Lydia,
like 2 seconds before air.
Manager, we love you, buddy. Yeah.
Like, it's like there's Starbucks, there's papers, and then it all disappears,
It's
and
like
we go.
mom's home.
Yeah. It's like mom's home.
They're home a day early from vacation.
Yeah, great job, Lydia. Good footwork. Nice job. All right, there was a big surprise at the end of the January 6th hearing yesterday, and we're going to get to that. The House panel voted unanimously to subpoena former President Donald Trump, placing him at the center of the effort to overturn the 2020 election. There are reports that Trump loves the idea of testifying. What a surprise.
Yeah, okay.
As long as he gets to do it on his terms. Trump responded, I have it here, with, quote, "Why didn't the unselect committee ask me to testify months ago? Why did they wait until the very end? Because the committee is a total bust that has only served to further divide our country." DBL Nation, we also want to know what you think. Will Trump sit down to testify before the committee? Go ahead to dblvote.com to weigh in. Really quickly, guys, he also gave a 14-page angry letter.
I was about to say very long.
On Truth Social, starting with all uppercase caps. And the first sentence in caps says, "The presidential election of 2020 was rigged and stolen."
And you would think in 14 pages that he would have responded, would he comply with the subpoena, but he left that part out. That's like the main question to answer. And in 14 pages, we didn't get the answer. And so people just want to know, what is the plan forward? Because somebody like me, I saw these January 6th committee hearings, and I was like, okay, well, we impeached this man twice. Nothing happened. This is looking like a witch hunt, especially if nothing happens after this, especially if Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, decides not to move forward with any charges. This looks a little bit crazy, especially when we're 2 years into a Biden presidency and worried about the next 2 years and forward. You know, it's kind of like digging into the past. But as I've been watching each hearing, you know, there's a lot of damning evidence that directly is connecting the president to not only knowing, but having outside advisors saying this is the exact plan. And so I think it's really how we're going to move forward as a country from this, as opposed to just ignoring it and moving forward. Like I would have said I wanted to do at the start of all of this.
Thank you for saying that, because ignoring it would have said more than doing anything about it, in my mind.
Absolutely.
Don't you agree? If we let this go, we've let a coup attempt go, in my mind. What do you think,
I mean, you know, Lindsay hit it on the head. But it's very simple. Either we have rules or we don't.
Yeah, right.
You know, and when you look at something like January 6th, if we sat there on our couches and watched police officers be murdered, watched a very strange occurrence where there seemed to be very limited resources for the Capitol Police, and it seemed to be a lot of connections, a lot of weird phone calls being made, a lot of weird walkarounds pre-actual January 6th. If we did nothing, then what is the point of anything, having any kind of infrastructure, if that doesn't result in a response by the government?
Well, the reason I was pushing back so much was because we didn't do nothing. Like at a point, well, not at a point, currently there are more than 800 people that have been arrested for January 6th. So as much as I wanted to see the direct connection between President Trump and making these grown adults go commit crimes, That's what people were looking to see, because then it seems like, let's just prosecute the people that actually commit the crime. And that's what we had been doing. So we weren't talking about that much, but that was happening day by day, and especially these white supremacists that were there with ulterior motives. We know exactly what's happening to a lot of these people and heads of organizations. And so we were kind of like, as a country, like, are we going to move forward from this presidency or not? Because for a lot of people, it was a really hard time dealing with the pandemic, plus that presidency and the lack of responsibility.
Yeah, and I will say, Liz Cheney said, we aren't just going to prosecute the foot soldiers, meaning we aren't just going to go after the supremacists and the people at the Capitol. We want the people who incited it from the top to go.
That's what the FBI does when they go after, like, the mafia. You don't just go for the hitman.
That's right. That's right.
You want the big guy.
Right, and they did say that Oath Keepers, the white supremacist group, had contact within the Secret Service. And something I thought was interesting, Cassidy Hutchinson said she heard Trump say, "I don't want people to know we lost. This is embarrassing. Figure it out. We need to figure it out. I don't want people to know we lost." That to me says he knew, premeditation, anger, motive, but he won't testify in a public hearing.
The thing that's blown my mind so much was the Secret Service, because I heard Chuck Todd say, if you recall, when President Biden took office, he insisted that he have a brand new Secret Service detail. He didn't want one person from President Trump's, from his time in office, being on his Secret Service detail. And now we're seeing that they're going to have a lot to answer for.
They're being
because a lot is missing, and like you're supposed to be impartial and just protecting the highest office in the country, and instead you guys are playing games.
Especially, it could be dereliction of duty at this point. For the first time, let's take a look at the polls, what you guys said. Do you think Trump will testify? No.
I think he will.
85%, 15% of you say yes.
Will?
If he doesn't, you will be held in contempt of Congress, in which case, much like Steve Bannon was, you could go to jail. So do I think he will testify? Yes. Will it be public the way he wants it? No, no. It will be held in private, in a closed meeting, because there's too much privileged information, I think.
I disagree. I think he's not doing it at all.
Oh, he will.
He's going to find a loophole.
Since 1857, that law has been on there. So I think the loophole,
but what
he might
laws
not
have applied to him up until this point?
I agree with you, but
talking in facts.
And it's Teflon and Teflon and
right.
Teflon. I agree with you. Also, for the first time, we're getting a look at the actions House Speaker Nancy Pelosi took that day. Let's take a look at that.
Oh my gosh, they're just breaking windows, they're doing all kinds of, it's really that they said somebody was shot. It was just horrendous, and all at the instigation of the President of the United States.
CNN also released footage from earlier that day, which includes Pelosi threatening Trump, which we've never seen before. Take a look at this.
So at the moment he is not coming, but that could change.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my
I would pay to see
I've
that.
been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out, and I'm going to go to jail, and I'm going to be happy.
Now, if you were wondering who that was taking the photograph,
She should have been saying that on the porch.
I know.
That's somebody's
her son-in-law.
I'm gonna go to jail.
That's something my grandma says all the time. You don't take that down, I'll punch you out. I'm like,
well, her daughter is a HBO documentarian that happened to be with her that day and followed her using her phone or camera to catch that. Some people were questioning that. What do you think about Pelosi threatening this?
I think she was scared. I mean, you heard other phone calls with her on the phone with Mike Pence, but the thing that really struck me about Nancy Pelosi is that she still wanted to complete her constitutional duty, because she was pressing Mike Pence and everyone about when can we complete confirming that Joe Biden will be president. And to me, I would be like, when can we get out of here and I can go home?
Right.
I'm just trying to think like a human. I don't know that I would be so wrapped up in doing my job.
You being so honest. That's
because
what
I was just like, huh? Like,
I'd be like, are there any escape doors or like a
Secret
sewer
Service
drain?
was calling and saying goodbye to their families. Remember, we reported that. So like, Nancy Pelosi's trying to still do her job. That's pretty admirable. You know, everything that she does, I don't love, but that's pretty admirable in that moment.
I got to be honest with you. I thought she was very presidential in that moment. She called Department of Defense. We saw her calling Virginia governor for the National Guard, Maryland, the Attorney General, Mike Pence. All of them wanted to show America we didn't stop the election of the President of the United States. To me, the only person that rigged this election was Trump.
Well, yeah.
That's what's so ironic to me.
I mean, this was, but he can't do it alone. His ideology spread to all of these adults.
But is he the leader? Is he the leader of it?
Yeah, but he's the figurehead. They all want to please him, but there's something about this man that made people, like literally there are people in jail watching us right now, hey guys, because they are. Do you know how many people are in jail because of that? How many people miss Christmas and Thanksgiving because they were down with this? I mean, he does something to people that makes people think irrationally. It is an amazing thing. That's the next documentary I want to see. Why did you throw your career away for this dude?
Yeah. Incitement of violence. We'll see if it comes out and plays out. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Danny DeVito and his adorable daughter Lucy. They tell us all about what they're working on together. And we have Dr. Coley. She joins us in studio. We're talking about weight gain after menopause, plus the latest on the COVID booster. Everything you need to know.
I'm on that segment too.
You're not on. You're not a doctor. Everything to feel not panicked, just informed.
Okay.
Without.
Closed captioning provided by
your shirt.
Oh, so here's my question for you guys. I'm gonna come around here because I'm vain. Linz, Al, Nicole.
Full.
Yeah. Is it to that 70s show? Is it a good thing that it is, or is it a little too cash?
I think it's fun.
Okay. Do you think it's to that 70s show?
I think it's like preppy, but the colors are saying 70 because those two colors.
Yeah, and that kind of groovy, argyle, brown, right? Anyway, I'm thinking of going 70s a little bit.
Are you good? But if you go 70s, you got to stay 70s. You
I
can't
know.
be 70s and then 90s.
You can do it like one day.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing then.
Yeah, but
Nicole.
if people look one day, they'll be like, "Oh, that's the girl that was
70s.
Yeah. But hey, love Gen 3's company.
Like anything like video.
Wait till you see our Halloween. What do you guys think we're all going for Halloween? You know we go big. It's going to get some press. We'd love to hear your take on what you think. Very excited.
That was a weird question. You said, "What do you think we're going as?"
For Halloween.
And then, what do you think? It's like they don't.
Well,
know.
I mean, is it what? There's a theme
What
always.
do you think about the guess that you made? Is what you.
It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't good. Is what I think. Is what I think.
And also, I'm loving Nicole's blazer.
I liked her outfit. I thought y'all were talking about her outfit.
Yeah, it is very nice.
Here, let me show.
It's always good to have like a little blazer and jeans situation. Yeah. Because it dresses it up, but also you can take it off and just chill.
It could be also that could be 90s. It could be late 80s, or it could be.
I'm easily tickled, y'all. It doesn't take much.
We're gonna sit here and be right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth.
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go.
Brad Pitt, the Pelosi.
Welcome back. Menopause. Let's talk about that. There's weight gain, there's diabetes drugs. They're all making headlines today. And we are so thrilled that we have Dr. Coley with us to answer all of our questions. These are so important. Thank you for being here.
So, Dr. Coley, I want to start with many women try to prepare themselves for menopause, especially when they're worried about their weight. So why do you think that women gain weight after menopause?
It is so hard to prepare ourselves, isn't it?
Good Lord. I'm scared of perimenopause, which is coming soon, I guess.
I know.
There's a whole bunch of shifts that happen after you're 20 that you weren't prepared for. I think in life it just keeps going like this for weight.
I don't want to say that, but you're making a really good point, which is that as we get older every decade, our basal metabolic rate slows down. That means how much energy our body expends on its own, and we keep doing the same things. We keep eating the same things. We keep probably exercising less than we were in our 20s, and so we end up gaining weight. So that's one big piece of it, is our basal metabolic rate is lower. Second, our estrogen levels plummet, right? So our fat distribution changes. We hold on to fat on our bellies.
Oh, how great.
Yeah, and we lose muscle mass. So muscles are very good at burning calories, our muscles. And because we lose that muscle mass, we don't burn calories quite as effectively. And they've actually looked at laboratory animals that are going through menopause, and they just have less energy, they just do less, they eat more. So it's sort of the perfect storm of all of those
That's
factors.
not the worst life.
I know. I'm like, I gotta at least pick one because I eat more and I definitely work out less.
And more. I mean, not great long term.
No, you got to change it all.
I know.
And that's the idea. We cannot just be ambivalent and let it happen, because these things have long-term health risks.
Right. And that leads me to my question, because it's not just obviously women that are worried about their weight. A lot of people follow people like Elon Musk, and he's come out and said that he is using diabetic medications as a way to lose weight. That doesn't seem good to me, but you're the doctor, so we needed to hear from you.
Well, let's talk about it. So the medicine was originally designed for diabetes. It's called a GLP-1 receptor agonist. But, you know, they gave it to diabetics, and they found during the trials, they were melting off the weight.
Whoa.
So they said, hey, wait a minute, why don't we turn this into a weight loss drug? So it's now actually been FDA approved for weight loss. And I think this is the best thing since sliced bread.
Really?
Wow.
I thought you were about to tell. What?
Wow.
Why didn't you call me?
Wow. Because you look amazing.
Oh, please. I could
But if you gained weight like Elon Musk had, and you guys should really look at the before and after, because it is so effective. You can lose 15 to 30% of your body weight.
Wow.
And it's not an unsafe weight loss. It's actually one of the safer ways to lose weight. And not only is it melting off the weight, it's getting rid of all the other bad things: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes,
Wow.
sleep apnea, and it's keeping
Should we
you
have
alive.
led with this?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what do I have to call? They'd be.
Yeah, Muskie's getting less husky. Okay, real quick. Let's switch gears. We received a viewer question about the COVID booster. Kathy, thank you for writing us, wrote, my husband has been on high flow oxygen 24/7 since July 2014. He'll be 83 in November. He's had both vaccinations and one booster, all were Moderna. Should he continue getting that same Moderna booster, or will the Pfizer booster protect him now?
Well, first of all, Kathy, sorry that he's on high flow, but I'm so glad you're asking this question. So we don't have data on the new bivalent booster with mixing and matching. Based on the old data that we had, it looked like it might be beneficial, but I'm going to give a little warning here, which is that the doses are very different. Moderna's a 50 microgram dose and Pfizer's 30, which means each strain is half that much because you have 2 strains in there. So I would say stick with Moderna.
Okay.
If you're having trouble getting the Moderna, then it's probably okay to get Pfizer, but we're really in a data-free zone.
I got you. I mean, that's huge.
Have you guys gotten your boosters?
I did. Yeah, last week.
I'm going.
No, yeah, when?
Dr. Cole's going to be on you until you go. She's like, what day do you have it?
I know, and I
Busy
appreciate that.
roller skating in the 70s.
Someone said I look like the best bowler on Tuesday night. Thank you, Dr. Coley, for providing us all this information. We will be right back. And I do like to go bowling, so that's good.
Are you ready?
There's something strange going on with Meg Thee Stallion. Good riddance to the messiest member of Potomac Housewives, and what's Sade doing with Brad Pitt? In this week's What Erica's Watching. First, Houston hottie Megan Thee Stallion was giving us a little first look at her upcoming appearance in Stranger Things. She posted these pics teasing the show's final season and gave us a glimpse of what we can expect. Well, since the show's wrapping, they might as well include one of the best. You see what I did there? I know. Next, season 7 of The Real Housewives of Potomac is here. And if you didn't catch the premiere, the most important thing you need to know is that Ashley Darby's embarrassing husband, Michael, won't be returning to the show, and that the couple is headed for divorce. However, they plan on buying a house together.
You and Michael are getting a divorce.
We are. I am elated in a place that excludes her crusty grabbing husband.
Now, Ashley must not want to really clean house, maybe because she's just used to having a messy man, but I'm with Candace on this one. I will tip in for that divorce party as well. And finally, it's been a while since we've heard from Sade. Now, when it comes to releasing new music, she's a smooth operator. So is it a crime that Brad Pitt actually told Billboard that Sade and her band worked on new music in his revamped state-of-the-art studio in France? Well, thank you, Bradley, for spilling the tea. Just don't ever leak the album. Share with me anything that catches your eye by using the hashtag DBL Erica Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Our next guests are a father-daughter duo like none other. Hilarious and skilled actors who are lucky enough to work together as a family in their new show, Little Demon. Check out our conversation with Danny and Lucy DeVito.
So, Lucy, in Little Demon, you play Chrissy, who discovers her father is Satan and comes into her powers. So we've got to know, what's your demonic power in real life?
Ooh, I think I can. I think I can read some minds.
Oh.
You know, I think that, sometimes can read between the lines in a way. No, demonic power. I mean, I think I like to party sometimes. So.
Okay. Mary Lou told us the stories of her and Danny and everybody, so the apple doesn't fall far from the
party
tree.
stories.
There we go.
Oh, I like the party. Yeah. I'm always embrace a good party.
I was reading between the lines, but that was pretty straightforward. So I like that. So, Danny, your son Jake directs Little Demon, and Lucy plays the Antichrist. You play Satan. What are you trying to tell us about the DeVito family
DeVito
dynamic?
Family, the clan? Yeah. No, it's really a fun thing to do. Jake is producing, and Lucy and I working, working off of each other. We love to work together. And when she brought it to me I think it was 4 years ago or so, she called me and said her friends and her were thinking about this show where she plays the Antichrist and I play Satan. And I think I answered too fast. Yeah. I said yes right away. I've been having a ball with Luce and with Jake and with everybody, with Darcy and the whole group of writers who we call, by the way, the demons. They are really fun.
That's great.
That's awesome. Now, Danny, I got to ask you, because this weekend I was, my 15-year-old daughter and I were doing our first driving lesson, and I think she already knows with me that if she gives me any look, she can have anything she wants, but we try and act like that's not a thing. So, I have to ask you, because your daughter's right here, who's the boss when you guys work together?
Oh, definitely Lucy.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's really a give and take because we've been doing this. She's been watching. We let right from the very beginning. Lucy's always read our scripts and talked to us about what we did. And now when she started acting, it was a reciprocal kind of thing. So we help each other out. We give each other notes, and I think we're both pretty on it when it comes to giving notes.
Well,
when you agree.
But I draw the line. I am the boss.
Well, Lucy,
she's the boss.
Lucy, I want to ask you, because he said that you were reading scripts. Was it inevitable that you become an actress? Like, were your parents ever like, yeah, you should do this, you're right for this, or that you just kind of fell into it naturally?
Yeah, I think of course I grew up, watching them and admiring them, and I grew up on, sets of Cheers and, Batman, whatever.
Who didn't?
So I always wanted to, be a part of that world. I always felt like I was a part of that world. And then I was actually a pretty shy kid. And then around 9th grade, I got into drama and was able to kind of break out of my shell through acting. And so it felt like a natural thing, as well as, just something that I had been, ushered into. And, but my parents were very supportive and, collaborative. And they also said, don't do this as a kid, go to college, and then you can figure it out. We're a showbiz family, but, very kind of like grounded in the sense like we know the crazy world that is out there that surrounds this world.
Yes.
A lot of people have tattoos of your dad. What's the weirdest or the best one that you've ever seen?
Oh, the Danny DeVito is great. There was one that I thought, the one that was Danny DeVito. It was like someone's actual big toe with like Danny DeVito.
Oh my God.
That was crazy.
That's amazing.
I love it. You guys seem like you have a good time. Yes, you do. Thank you so much, Danny and Lucy. We're so happy to see you guys working and laughing together. That's the goal. That's the dream. To our viewers, Little Demon airs on FXX and streams the next day on Hulu. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Let's get right into it, shall we?
Okay, wow. I don't even know where to begin here.
Oh, am I right?
Okay,
oh my goodness, I'm just gonna sit here.
Okay,
you're right.
I know y'all gonna be mad at me, but I'm just telling you the truth. We trying to heal together, okay?
You can smirk all you want. You don't have to tell me to go. I'm already on 11.
Brad Pitt, sorry. Yes, so I know it. I'm
Don't miss a day of DBL.
Verify here with your Fast Fact. The Social Security Administration announced its annual cost of living adjustment is 8.7% for 2023. That got some people online wondering, is this one of the largest increases ever in Social Security benefits? These are our sources. In 1972, Congress passed a series of Social Security amendments, including one that gave recipients an automatic annual adjustment based on inflation. Since 1975, when the amendment took effect, the adjustment has ranged from nothing to more than 14% in 1980. This year's 8.7% increase is the fourth largest since the government began making annual cost of living adjustments. So, yes, this is one of the largest increases ever in Social Security benefits. The extra money will start appearing in the January check. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
The sober curious movement has taken hold as many realize even their casual drinking has gotten out of hand.
If you're someone who says, you know, I want to, if I'm anxious or if I have a stressful day, I want to blow steam off with a drink, like there are other coping skills that are much healthier for your body.
That's Peyton Lassiter, a licensed resident in counseling. He says sober curious often involves rethinking alcohol consumption or abstaining completely. As part of that, more people are turning to Sober October as a harm reduction technique. And if you fall off the wagon, Lassiter says it's not a failure and you can start up again.
Tree frogs are typically smaller than an iPhone, but one giant frog on TikTok has a following to match its size. 20 million people watched this video of Dumpy, the Australian white tree frog, eating a banana. The TikTok prompted people to post their own videos expressing their shock at Dumpy's size. So let's verify. Does a viral video show a real massive tree frog? Our sources are the Smithsonian's National Zoo, Petco, and Lucas Peterson, the video creator and Dumpy's owner. In the video, Dumpy looks to be about the size of a rabbit, but Peterson admits in the captions that this video is heavily edited and that Dumpy is really less than 5 inches long. Other TikToks and Instagram posts from Peterson show the frog's actual size, which is consistent with what the National Zoo says is the average size of a tree frog. Petco also says frogs eat insects, not bananas. Peterson acknowledges this is another editing trick and that Dumpy actually prefers crickets. So no, a viral video does not show a real massive tree frog. It was edited with special effects to make the frog look significantly larger. The world's largest frog is the Goliath frog, which is about a foot long. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
People are constantly downloading new apps on their smartphones, and scammers are taking advantage of this. So it's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. There are a lot of legit apps you can download on your phone, but you need to watch out for lookalike app scammers. They're going to create apps that look similar to the original, but they're actually malware designed to steal your personal info, send text messages without your knowledge, or even track your location. To protect yourself, only download apps from trusted sources like the Apple App Store or Google Play. Delete and report any apps you're concerned about and check the app's privacy policy. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-953-0836 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. Very important. And a lot of people writing in about my bowling. I'm thinking of maybe starting a little bowling league.
Yeah. You would definitely be the head right now.
Right? Yeah. Would I be the only one on?
No, I would go to bowling
You would
night.
go?
I would go to bowling night.
You would? Would you?
I actually hate bowling so much. It's my least favorite thing to do. But I do like the food at bowling alleys, so I would hang out and eat.
I've never heard anybody say that.
Nachos.
Like nachos, mozzarella
I don't like
sticks.
bowling.
I'm really pretty basic.
I like it a lot.
Just for the shoes, I wear them around as a fashion statement. I've never seen
I probably hate bowling because I really am terrible at it. Like, it's always in the gutter. I need those bouncy
really
side things.
I think you can get better. I'm going to work on this. And guys, come up with a bowling team league name for us. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody.
BB.